And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us again on the third e-learning session on COVID-19. And we are enjoying this moment of social distance. Actually, a lot of us together here are AEN board members. And I would say half of the people here are rather new or trying to catch up. So welcome to the ones especially new with us. Today, we have the pleasure of Mr. Abotillo from Malaysia. He's the world well-known entrepreneur, expertise in community-based, but also in eco-lodges and eco-resorts. So we would like to hear from Ari, Albert today. From Malaysia, so I'm going to hand over Albert the camera, and he can start sharing the screen. In the meantime, I would like to ask you to make sure your microphone is muted. Your left lower corner should be the mute icon. So we ask you this because if you're not muted, your faces pop up, and your face will be recorded unless you want to make appearance. We do have some time at the end of the session for question and answer. So please feel to take notes or prepare for questions.
By starting?
Session. Yes, so now you're on, Albert. Please share your screen, or you're on. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I am now in Sydney, sunny afternoon, 18 degrees centigrade, very cold today for some reason. I thought I would just say hi to everybody, and now I will switch over to share my screen. I have some 20 over slides that I want to go through. Is that okay now?
Yes, it is fine.
Good. Took me a while to think about what I want to share, my experiences based on my 29 years of experience in the business, and how I've been through the crisis so far. I thought using the title "Leading Through" is a better word than managing the crisis, although we are also managing the crisis in the midst of it. But I want to be able to lead through the crisis, because leading and managing is different. Now, a little bit first about what I think about this crisis. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
This is my first webinar, so I'm also technology challenged in many ways. The first point I want to share is that COVID-19 is really very unprecedented, because it started with health, and it's going to develop and cascade into economic challenge, and finally financial challenge. And this afternoon, I was thinking about these three issues, and actually it's people, planet, and profit. People will be affected because of the health issue. It will eventually impact the planet, and definitely will impact our profit at the end of the day. So this 3P is actually what we have been trying to practice. People call 3Ps, sustainability circles. The second point is that this is the most challenging, even for me myself, although I've been through several crises before. This is therefore very new, very challenging. I call this also, in many books, they call it an inflection point, because we are so looking forward to this year, the performance, the business certainly is a big turnaround. So it's really a inflection. And nobody know, a lot of people don't know how to respond to this inflection because we are in uncharted territory. But if we are not careful, it can either be a disruption or an equalizer. A lot of big companies will go bankrupt as much as small companies. So it can be equalizer. We are all on the same playing field. So how we respond is critical, not just how we react. Most people will find it very hard because they are reacting right now. So I have to keep reminding myself that I don't just react, but I respond. The fourth point is that it's changing every minute. Norita will understand me when I say this because the state government, the national government is changing policy regarding financial aid to unemployed, to unpaid staff and all these things. And we are having to respond to a very dynamic and fluid situation. It's evolving. So every time a decision is made, it has a cascading effect on my policy, my decision that I've made. So I have to review the impact of every decision made by the government. We are supposed to have a lockdown until the 12th of May, but yesterday we heard the government will relax it so that business will reopen gradually from the 4th onward, which is in 2 days' time. So it's very stressful, especially on the staff who don't know whether they're going to get a job or not. And uncertainty creates a lot of stress when they are locked down in the house. I think the Asians are more used than the Americans. I see a lot of strike going on in the US. Number 6, because it's tough time, it requires a lot of tough decisions. Sometimes we get confused as to whether we should be compassionate first at the expense of our finance, or how should we react? And it will affect our core values. So I'll talk about core values. What is our core values in our business? Because if we plan to survive, we have to look at our core value. Why are we in business for? So a lot of decisions that is made immediately in the past few weeks may be very ambiguous and need to be clarified and refined. So I'm having to fine-tune myself to re-examine my own decision, whether I need to review and refine it. And so being away from Malaysia, being in Australia gives me a helicopter view of the whole situation. I am involved and yet detached from the situation. And it does give me some objectivity to it. Number 8, I was mentioned that we have to take a long-term view if we want to survive this crisis. That means we have to lead and not let situation manage us. So that will be the point that I was going emphasizing. Okay, there are 6 points that I want to share. First, my personal first. I think in the crisis, I want to talk about my personal. Number 2 is the company, because if we don't take care of a company, when I go back to Malaysia, I have nobody to look up to work or whatever. The 3rd is the community that I am with. The 4th thing is the country. The 5th is the global situation, how our business impact global and vice versa. And the 6th is we must take advantage, capitalize on the crisis during this lockdown period, and how do we do it? So this is the 6 points I will be covering, but not all exactly in that order. The day before the Malaysia closed down, I decided last minute to fly to Sydney because I have a dependent daughter here in Sydney that I need to be close also with my wife. and also be able to reflect and think more objectively. I have to take care of my own health challenge and be very careful what I do. And I think in every situation, it is very important to be close to your loved ones so that you can take care of the rest. Otherwise, we'll be thinking, oh, when children are miles away, we will be thinking, how are they doing? And that causes unnecessary worry and stress. So I eliminate that area of my stress by coming to Sydney. After all, I'm still a husband, a father with dependent children and married children here as well. So security and safety is top of my mind when I decided to come here. And the benefit, the bonus was that being here, I can see the society, how they manage the situation and crisis here, and also be able to have an objective view of how people react in Malaysia and around the world. Okay, come to company. I decided to put the first point, survival of the company, as core values. If I am to survive this crisis, I have to ask myself, what is the core value of Borneo Eco Tours, Sukau, Rainforest Lodge, my own business, my own core values. I have to balance that with the company survival. How do we position our image, our brand? Yeah. Many people probably in the midst of making a decision to close the company were too fast in reacting, because if we want the company to continue to operate, we do not want to lose what we have built over the years, and that includes brand, our brand equity. Brand equity is actually it's not in the balance sheet, but it is critical because it is an asset of the company that you take years to build the goodwill. So it takes years and a lot of money to build the brand, because with the brand goes trust and integrity. So during this time, we cannot afford to lose our trust and integrity. We take years to build, because brand is an asset. So we need to take into consideration every decision we made. We have to take care of this. C, if you don't have cash, you are as good as insolvent. And chapter 11, bankrupt. The bank will go after you, whatever you do. So we have to understand where we are as far as the company is concerned. Liquidity is king. So how liquid are we as a company? So I will talk about more later after this. How much is our cash reserve? What is the cash flow per month that we stay close? And when we look at these figures, we don't panic so much. We know how to position ourselves. The critical thing then will be, how long will this recession crisis last? Can we last until December of this year? Can we last until December of next year? Probably the vaccine will only be in place next year and not even this year. So if we can predict or project ahead, at least there is less uncertainty. When there is less uncertainty, there is less stress for everybody working in the company. Otherwise, the shareholder will have to go bankrupt as well. And the bank guarantees that I signed over the years, I will also go bankrupt. So it's not an option. So cash is really king. D, human resource. Human resource, again, is a capital. It's not even in the balance sheet. And a lot of us look at it as just dispensable in the time of crisis mode. So we have to study, what does the labor law say? Because we cannot go against labor law if we want to maintain our trust and integrity. Government incentive, How much will government incentive and stimulus package help us? Again, that has implications. So all these points are interrelated. We have to look at the creditors. We have a lot of creditors that we have before the crisis started, because we have been doing business. We have bank loans to service every month. We have a lot of guests who have paid us a few million ringgit worth of guest money in our bank account. We have to be careful that we don't spend the guest deposit and tours that they have paid up front. Many guests have canceled the tours and we have to refund them. So there are a lot of creditors, contingent liability. Even when the company is closed down, we still have fixed overhead to run. We are now in Malaysia discussing whether the bank should charge the company interest on delayed payment during the 6 months moratorium. So there is a maintenance of the lodge. We have to make sure that our landscape gardener and all that continue to work to maintain the lodge. Otherwise, in the jungle like Sukau, the monkeys will take over the whole place. So we have to make sure the monkeys stay out of the lodge and stop tearing down the property when there are no staff around. G, a tour company usually would have a lot of fixed assets, not just the building, but vehicles. For us, the lodge is a big chunk of the assets. So we have to make sure the assets remain in good shape, the boats, the engines, and all that have to be taken care of, the generator. So there's a lot to think about over these issues, how to make sure that when the lodge is reopened, when the company is reopened, the vehicle, everything is in working order and well maintained and not vandalized or pilfered. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about cash. The first point I thought I should talk about is the cash flow statement. So the first thing I asked during the when the crisis started was, where do I stand in the bank as far as the bank account is concerned for the next 12 months and 18 months and 20 months? Do we have cash to sustain the business cash flow statement? So my accountant, we have a top management team covering my financial controller, my directors, my GM, a few key leaders, to make sure that everyone are on the same page. So cash flow is critical so that we know when we make a decision regarding manpower, asset, we have the cash to support it. If not, we have to fine tune it to get the best outcome. So it is really making a lot of tough choices. What is urgent and important? What is not important but urgent? All these issues. Yeah. The first thing is we have to keep a few account staff and sales team continue to work because guests continue to cancel tours. So we have to make sure that emails are being answered, guests are being refunded if they request for refund, and we have to know how much they pay, how much we have in the bank. So there is this continuing communication back and forth to make sure that we don't lose our trust as far as our guests are concerned, because that will affect our brand. Yeah. C, loan commitment. How do we deal with that? That depends on the banks and the government policy. So we are following that and see how much loan we have to pay, how much will be the delay in loan installment, how long will it be, make sure we have sufficient fund and loan interest. We also have facilities with the bank, whether it's overdraft or loan facilities. So what we did was we applied for additional loan as a cushion. We have got one of them recently approved, so at least we have some cushion. It's more for contingency than anything else. It is for post-recovery after the crisis is over. So it is very critical that we have a cushion so we don't get stressed out. E, how long can the cash reserve last? So we have to do projection for the next 12 to 20 months, 24 months especially. We feel that the recovery next year will be very slow because of the fear. And apparently what I read is that COVID-19 is here to stay. Even when we have the virus, vaccine is here to stay. So social distancing will impact how we run our business. How long the future? Okay, F, project and loss. Profit and loss projection is critical. A lot of it is in a way guesswork. Some are easily predictable, like depreciation, bank interest, loan repayment, fixed overhead. We can scale down some of variable overheads, but fixed overhead will be hard to change. So at least we should know whether we have the comfort, is within our comfort level that we have sufficient cash to pull through. If we don't, then we go for restructuring of debt and equity. So we have to make plans ahead to make sure that we have sufficient cash to do that when the recovery is slower than we projected. The last point is making progress. This is critical because so much is uncertain. We have to make changes along the way. We have to make hypotheses how fast the recovery is. We have to make adjustment based on government policy. We have to collect more data because the first few weeks we may overlook some of the data, the information that was not captured in our cash flow statement. We have to analyze the impact of every decision made by government and on staff with regard to benefit from government. And then we have to make adjustment of this. Okay, human resource planning, because like I say, it is an asset which is not reflected in our balance sheet. So human resource is the reason why company is successful or not successful. So, but I go out with the concept that managed manpower requirement should be based on shared sacrifices. So the first category is the directors. We have to show leadership by example. We have to take 100% pay cut. We have to work without pay. This is why we are made directors. As shareholders, we have to take major risk to lead by example and not to be expecting not to take share of the responsibility and expecting the rank and file staff to take pay cut or unpaid leave. Category B is for senior managers who will all be taking 50% pay cut, but they have to work as well. Sometimes we're flexible, maybe they work half the time, even at home. So there is a lot of flexibility. This category C is more because in Malaysia, anybody less than 4,000 per month salary, they don't qualify for government subsidy in some ways. So they will have to work, but half the time. Category B is staff who is required to keep operation at half pay and work. Sales team have to work. Some account staff have to work. A gardener have to work. So quite a few staff have to work at the lodge, even though we have no guests. Category E, probably staff on unpaid leave because they can get financial aid from the government stimulus package. We call it employee retention program. They get 600 a month for unpaid leave. And they can also withdraw their own pension fund, we call EPF, 500 a month. So the latest from yesterday or last few days was that the government has run out of funds, the 600 ringgit per month. So anybody who apply late will not be entitled to the financial aid. So all these changes take place all the time, requiring management to make decisions as to how best to help the staff who may not be able to get it. Yeah. The last category, I think, is to apply for employee retention program now and retrench in 6 months' time if the business do not recover or got worse. So then we have to apply for unemployment benefit, EIS. So to at least give them 6 months to a grace period to plan for alternative source of income. So this is at least a cushion for them, so that it let them, we let them have a time to process all these crises and give less shock to them in a way. A sales department is very critical even in this time, because a lot of pre-booked tours had to be cancelled, postponed. Those cancelled, postponed, we have to refund them. We have to give them alternative, which is our flagship program. Those who want to postpone next year or want to cancel, but we allow them to come back again next year. We just maintain 10% cancellation fees, but they can use any time next year. Cancellation of booking, we cannot cancel everything in one go for the whole 9 months of this year, because a lot of bookings are for the whole of 9 months. So we have to schedule the workload for the staff in case the business reopens. So we can only cancel the 3 months immediately from the crisis and continue to monitor the cancellation that on tours have been booked later this year. It's critical to have a weekly cancellation report so that we don't miss out anybody or make a double counting. Projection for 6 months and 9 months is critical, so that we know where our position, our cash flow is. And this thing is critical. The tours that belongs to the guests, we have to make sure that we don't use their money for our liability and not be able to pay them in the future. Pre-booked tours is a liability and not our asset. It's a prepayment. The marketing is critical. We believe that we have to keep the guests informed, answer the email, otherwise they will be worried whether our company has closed down and applied for Chapter 11 or something like to the effect. In fact, we have a lot of guests asking whether they will be able, whether we will keep their money safe with us. They want reassurance, even ask for our letter to confirm that we are able to keep their money safe. So communication is the most important at this time of uncertainty with the guests, using social media and also within the company as well. EM stands for Executive Management, our sales team, our accounts department. We have a regular monthly meeting called General Assembly, GA, where we now we have to Skype with everyone, which happened yesterday. We even have an ongoing communication in different groups. MMC is mastermind group. Those who want to share, we allocate 2 persons to share on the book that they have read, so that we proactively keep their mind active and not just spend time worrying about everything else. So there's continuous learning. MD, Managing Director blog for all the staff that can log into the company intranet, so that they can read what management had to communicate with them, so they feel that they are in touch with the decision makers in the office. We have to think about how to create new, to inform everybody what we read about the market trend post-COVID, what sort of tours that will be likely in high demand, what sort of behavior that guests will expect from us in the coming months, and whether there are any new business opportunities that will come from there. So far, so good?
Yes, very good, Albert. Thank you. Continue.
Now I will share I'll talk about the rest, with the slides, photographs, and all that. There are 4 photographs here of the lodge. You can see what's happening. In fact, we were just about finishing the renovation of our old superior room. You can see top left there. We were in the midst of finishing our kitchen, enlarging, refurbishing, improving our kitchen when all this happened. So it gives us a chance to keep ourselves busy. We have a team of contractors, workers, finishing it now. Of course, after renovation, we have to make sure we do the landscaping. So it would be a pity not to take advantage of this lockdown to do landscaping as well. Some of the facilities are all falling apart. So the bottom left, bottom right, there's a photo of our former 8 gallery where we do interpretation, guided walk, meeting, giving talks by the guides. It's too small, so we're going to enlarge it. So this is the time to enlarge it. So there's a lot of things that that can be done, although they do cost some money. So this is the best time to continue to improve and upgrade. We have started last year, actually, this research center building so that we can do conservation, research, ecotourism, research center. So we took the opportunity to have a couple of rooms, office and all that. And this building is completed now and beautiful, ready to be used. So how did we do all that we did over the last 1 year? We have also a lot of training in-house. We set up a training department because we believe that human capital is critical for the success of the company. So we have to continue to innovate, to train the staff, to plan ahead, to continue to be successful as a company. So we started a division called Mind Vistas, send our people for certification, affiliated to GIMI, the Global Innovation Management Institute. We use the template. We paid, of course, we pay to join this organization so that our staff can follow and learn from this international organization based out of Boston in USA. So this is what happened the last 1 year. We have been busy training our staff before this happened. So this is timely in a way that we probably are more prepared than a lot of people how to empower team through innovations. So this is ongoing. I think in the coming years, the staff, more and more of the staff will be trained under this and understand what it is to be, that they need to grow. They have to grow if they want to be successful and develop their own career, yeah? So what do we do? My NGO called BEST, B-E-S-T, Borneo Ecotourism Solution Technology. My NGO, more than 50% of the funds of Borneo Ecotours of BEST Society actually come from within the company, Borneo Ecotours and Sukau Rainforest Lodge. Now, this fund is going to dry out 100%, right? So a lot of things have to be reviewed. How are we going to get funds? If we don't get funds, whatever funds we have to understand from the cash flow how much funds we have so that we can last through the crisis. We have shifted our focus from at one time welfare, charity, environment project to empowering community. So last year we did a revamp of our focus to focus on social entrepreneurship in the last few years. And we start with one of these projects which will be ongoing, whether we have the crisis or not. We actually received a grant from a philanthropist in the US who gave us a fund for community project. So we started this project called Best Pitch with the funds, and we will continue to educate them with business plan, mentoring, capacity building on the quarterly basis. And we will give them continuous support to ensure that the project succeed. Yeah, we selected actually 4 projects so that we can mentor these 4, and we have been having a few quarterly meetings to ensure that whatever business decision they make will have a long-term success impact. This was the group that came together when we select the winners, 4 finalists with a panel of judges sitting in the front row, held at Rasaria Shangri-La. I bring this slide. I thought it would be interesting. I use this slide very often from the book, The End of Poverty by Professor Jeffrey Sachs, advisor to the UN, Secretary General. I always believe that after reading this book, it's changed my mindset. How the people are poor because their wealth is being destroyed, whether through Ebola, AIDS, the breadwinner lose their life, leaving those spouse to take care of the children. So the breadwinner is actually a sort of creator of wealth. And when that wealth is being destroyed, people move back to poverty. And where we stand in Borneo Eco-Tours is we have item 4, 5, and 6, okay? Many of my managers, myself, my leaders, we have human capital, we have skill, we have health, we have business capital, machinery and all that, and we have knowledge capital, which is, in this case, social entrepreneurship. And we use 4, 5, and 6 to help the poor people. We call B40, below 40. People living below 40 are mostly poor. So we use our skill set to help those people who are less advantageous than us. And this point 4, 5, and 6 are 3 of the most important sources of capital, creator factors of capital, and which we have, but the community are lacking. Yeah. So I use that a lot. So one of those we are helping now is one of the winners of the best pitch is actually in the village called Kiao at the foothill of Mount Kinabalu. So we changed the brand name to Mount Kinabalu Coffee. The slogan they create themselves is called Feel the Aromatica. That's their word for celebration and all that. Huh? So, so they receive a grant from us for winning the pitch. 5,000 ringgit is just over $1,000 US, and we continue to mentor them along the way, together with support from University Malaysia Sabah to provide them some scientific data and all that thing. So we'll provide them the business guide, plan and all that. Unfortunately, the crisis hit just as when we apply for a big grant for them. So we do the business proposal, the project paper and financial statements and all that thing. So this will be definitely a project to watch out, to look forward to. That's the guy there. The father has been running this business, bottom right, for more than 20 years. The son is now taking over his coffee business, which we think he should, because this is probably going to be the best project on coffee business in the whole of Sabah. Another project we sort of took over last year when we were asked to write a report, a consultancy for Rainforest conservation. This community want to conserve more than 20 acres of land, forested land with the Rainforest. So we did a report and continue to guide them as to the choice of name and all the other information, and again to help them to promote, do social media and all that together with them. Here is the guide, the local champion. Without local champion, it's very hard to do this sort of business. Receiving 5,000 ringgit from my general manager, director, Beton Bijaming. This is an interesting lady from Kudat who set up her own e-commerce on website and also have a store in Kudat. So we thought that this sort of initiative and entrepreneurship should be encouraged, even though it may be an individual. So we also rebrand her name, I Kudat, for her, and see based on what we think is the best choice of word for SEO, search engine optimization, and all that thing. Another project in Kiulu, where we have been adopting the village and where we have set up an NGO for them called Mukes. Is a community-based organization run by them but funded very much by us. Every guest who go to Kiulu, we contribute funds to that organization, which they will manage themselves, and we want to build up the capacity of this organization and introduce some ideas and projects for them to work on, buy the machinery so that they can do some of this handicraft you see in front of you. Yeah, so this is a process, a work in progress. All our bamboo straw also were made by them that we supplied through us to the hotels in Kota Kinabalu. So every small project is part of the process of capacity building and breaking them out of charity, what I call toxic charity, so that through their own effort, they see result of the success of their own work. So this is what it's all about. We get them to go and look for the machineries that they need to buy, so they get demonstrations, so they have a set of equipment now they can make things, and we will ask them to make some of the things that we would need ourselves, so we can buy direct from them to build the capacity. So all these leaders are brought every quarter to our office for training and feedback, so that they get encouraged. So mistakes are caught early, so that they don't continue to repeat the mistake, and products that they make are marketable and sellable and not just for the show, for the shelf, and which is often the mistake that they make. Things that are not sellable, marketable, need not to be made by them. So we want them to focus on things that are sellable. You can see at the background a lot of things they've been making for us. So this is to build their self-confidence, self-esteem, pride in their own work. So this is all the things that we are working on. I think they will be continuing on because the cost of running this is very minimal. So I think my NGO will be busy. It's just ensuring that we have sufficient cash to pay the salary that we have to pay to maintain. Now, I showed this slide. I don't know if you have seen this. I read an article by Dan Sullivan. This is a 4C formula. I noticed during this crisis, a lot of people are caught in a cycle of fear as a result of the stress. The young millennial don't know how to handle stress. And I read this article, which I thought is very interesting. The guy, Dan Sullivan, is a trainer, strategic coach in the US for more than 25 years. And this book is actually available for free on the internet. He said that if a person is committed 100% to what he is doing, even though the things he is not sure how to do, if he is committed, he will be able to overcome that. And then with that, once he's done it, it will generate courage in him to want to do some more, and that will build his competency and capability. Once you have the competency, you build your confidence that way, and it is a loop. It's a continuous cycle. So this is what I think we all need to have 100% commitment in whatever we do. So I hope that the staff, my company will all have commitment during this crisis so that they can, through their own self-effort, get out of fear and move to the courage zone. And these are some of the reports that I've shared to some of you already, some of the article. Item number 2 is especially helpful. It's actually a 5-part series of webinar for those Harvard Business Executive Education thing. Because it's webinar, there is a lot of case studies. They show how people get out of crisis through having the right mental approach and attitude and learning. I like also the 4-part webinar by John Maxwell on how to sharpen your leadership in a crisis. Yeah, all of them are very good. So take a look at them. It's very good. So this one again also is very good. How to handle business in the midst of a virus thing. Thank you. I hope this helped. If anybody needs any more information, you please contact me. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Albert. Oh, it's all inspiring, especially coming from the ground, and all the passion and commitment that you have. You really demonstrated what you're doing, in these very tough times. Thank you so much again. And now I'd like to open the floor for any questions to Albert. You can wave yourself, or you can unmute yourself. I can also help you unmute. Anyone?
Okay, can I ask a question, Abihi?
Yes.
Thank you very much for excellent presentation. Yesterday, I learned 2 airlines in Korea, they are selling pre-purchasing tickets. You don't need to put your travel dates or routes, but you can just purchase like $1,000 or $2,000 dollars the ticket, and then in 2 years you can book your flight. Then
Wow.
the airlines can give you 10 to 15% discount, and then there is no cancellation fee. And then it actually gave a huge amount of cash flow to airlines. It's successfully they are selling tickets. So do you think that it can be applied to your accommodation?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for the idea. That's $1 million idea. Thank you. I think we should do that.
Yeah, that's an open ticket, we used to call it.
In fact, Mihi, I have been on Skype with different groups of people over the last 1 month, members of the Long Run and others. A lot of the lodge owners in Africa, especially, they also face the same issue of zero revenue, yeah? And they are still in the old mindset that there should not be a discount on price. I think that is a fallacy that to expect that price will not come down. Why? Simply because of economic theory of supply and demand. If there is a lot of supply of rooms and there is no demand, price is going to drop whether you like it or not. And domestic tourists cannot afford to spend so much money as international tourists, especially when we're all using our savings for the crisis moment. So I think this is a great strategy to sell our room forward. Yeah, thank you for the idea. Good.
You're welcome. But I think in this case, the 2 airlines are big company, and then people have no fear they might lose the money they already paid. But the small lodges or travel companies, they could give the worries to the potential clients if they don't show, they can keep the money safely. So is there any strategy to deliver the trustful message to the market?
Anybody have any idea?
I hear the online tourism agency, the OTAs, they're trying to buy by bulk, to secure some cash flow, but also having all the smaller lodges owners to participate, so the OTA can guarantee the customers the rooms, because they have more credibility, while the small operators need to work with them in order to secure funds, for the cash flow immediately. So that's happening in Japan in that case. Any others?
Thanks.
This is Aaron. Just building on Mihi's idea, I put a link on the group chat, and it's a case study of Sardinia, which uses a open voucher context, not just for one attraction or hotel. It does that across the entire island. So this has been around since I think 2014. Very successful in the off season when you've got excess capacity, but starting to look at things like open innovation and saying strategically, for like Albert, if you've got a suite of properties or attractions and working with the airlines and the hotels and other operators, this could allow that kind of flexibility kick in from an ecotourism, for example, an ecotourism ASEAN pass, for example.
Good idea.
Yeah. I also have a question from Niracha. I think she's online, but she cannot speak. Asking, when will it be back to normal stage in your opinion, especially in your destination? Do you think, how long would it take to normalize?
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
I didn't think you have a microphone. Okay, good.
Right.
Niracha from Thailand, huh?
Yes, Albert. Hi.
Yeah.
Very good presentation, first of all. Now, actually, I'm just thinking, because actually I'm running the Green Hotel as well, and I'm at the moment we really don't see when we can come back to the normal situation, especially the Green Hotel in the small valley like Ilay. So my question is, like, in your opinion, based on your high experience, when can we resume back actually to the normal operation? That is the first one. And the second question is, are you also preparing for the new standard of operation actually? Because right now we are preparing for that. Because our government already start planning for the new normal operation in each function, like for hotels, for resort, and for tour operators as well. Yes.
You want me to respond? Maybe. Okay. Let me say this. Our member from Sri Lanka, Sri Lau, has written a wonderful report on the new normal code of practice, SOP for hotels and lodges. I think it will be very useful. I've already request my staff to look at how we're going to operate the lodge, from front office to housekeeping to kitchen. We have to change the way we serve the guests and seat the guests. All this had to be reviewed and relooked, especially the first 3 years, because there will be a lot of fear still. Eventually, things will settle down, but I think we have to make a change. Yeah. Anybody else? Maybe.
Anybody else?
Hi.
Oh, Samil.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? Hey, Albert, how are you? Very good presentation. Thank you so much. I've got a question for you. In this time, like once you start reopening your resort, how much you will be thinking of focusing the training to your staff, upgrading, giving more training for this COVID things and other transmitted disease? Have you ever thought about the training part once you open your resort?
Actually, we have already been training since last year. I think the training now will be tailored more to handling COVID health issues. I don't know about the rest of you. In Malaysia, I think there is a government grant for conducting training. So we're going to be using that, applying for funds for the government to conduct training, not just for COVID, but also for continuing upgrade of our human capital.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. That's what I basically wanted to know.
Okay. We have a time for one last question, maybe.
Can I ask something? Hi.
Okay.
Hi, Norita.
Hi, Norita. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Albertio. Great presentation. I concur with everyone. I just want to know, as you know, Sabah has attracted a lot of so-called mass tourism in the likes of our low-hanging fruit market, which is China and Korea. And of course, we still had our long-haul travelers who appreciate nature and ecotourism, respectively. But do you think that after COVID-19, that we will be able to turn some of our travelers, instead of just going for do nothing kind of holiday, and turn their interest into more of ecotourism, more of nature conscious travel? Do you think we could? Do you think there will be a possibility of turning them into a more nature conscious travelers rather than just arrive, it's just beach and hotel or by the pool kind of travelers?
You're asking me?
Yes. Or asking anyone, any ideas or any suggestions? What do you think? Are we able to turn some of these travelers into nature enthusiasts rather than just, what do you call it, that flip-flop kind of traveler?
Let me give my 2 cents worth.
Yes,
I think it is up to us to try to change our marketing strategy, our positioning, how we position ourselves. We have to use social media a lot because a lot of people will want to move towards this sector, especially if they feel safe. And I will probably be working on that, how to make them feel safe. We are already handling Chinese tourists in Sukau, although it's not a big amount.
Yeah.
So I think this thing will accelerate it. The crisis will accelerate the take-up of this sort of tourists, even from China, I believe. It's not that the Chinese don't have money to travel. There are a lot of rich Chinese out there. It's just that we have never tapped very successfully into them. So it's up to us to look for this niche.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because yesterday when I listened to, I attended the PATA webinar, the Tourism Insights and Strategies, and they gave a survey, and how many, who wants to, for the next holiday, who would want to go to city or nature, and 83% wants to go to nature. And I think that's good for our ecotourism products. Yeah.
So we have to be ready for that sort of market trend, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's why I think we are here. And now this gives me a chance to bring my screen back. Ready? If you ever been to our website, tomorrow we are scheduled for another e-learning. It's going to be at 4 p.m. Bangkok time. So it's a little, it's in the afternoon. It's going to be talked by our board member, Mr. Mohit, who is also joining us today. He'll be talking about the talks fundamentals for robust tourism business. So that's also in line with the what we have been talking about. So please register again and spread the word. And there's a few things I'd like to do as for housekeeping. We have a new feature on the website. So if you go to any of our pages on AEN, we have this web member page. If you click on it, it would ask you to join. But if you do join, it's a free site. Then you can find other members. Then you can send messages within our group. And we also have a members forum, which will allow you to, if I could do this right, open the discussion. This is the discussion board, bulletin board. So if you have any issues that you want to ask us, I think the people can look at it and they can answer to it. I'll be careful in what's happening on this board also. And lastly, these e-learning sessions that we have been enjoying, we had this one yesterday from Zane, and mine one was on 27th of April. So these past videos are now also available online, but you need to register through this web members, which is different from just a newsletter, which you do from the very face of the website. So if you have the time to spare, please join us on our web members. It's absolutely free. So if you had other meetings and missed the past ones, we'll accumulate all the good sessions here. So look forward to joining us again here on these pages as well. All right. Does anyone would like to share anything, burning questions? No? Okay, well, I think, Zen, did you want to say something or you're okay? Okay, thumbs up. All right, thank you very much, everyone. And have a good afternoon and good weekend. We shall see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bangkok time with Mohit. So I'm hoping Mohit will join with me 10 minutes prior to the scheduled meeting. Thank you again. Have a good time. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcel.
Albert. Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you, Albert.
Oh,
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
you
Thanks
take
to you.
care.
Thank
Stay
you.
healthy, Norida.
Thank you. You too.